Hello. This is not sponsored by Sonic, but if you have not been to Sonic, you better get your ass to the Midwest and check it out. Anyway, so pretty much I just wanted to discuss, I have not been posting as regularly, and I wanted to just sort of jump back into the whole YouTube thing. It's weird. I don't know if I should feel this way. It's weird, like, as like a consumer of YouTube content, a lot of times whenever people are like, oh, I'm so sorry that I've been gone for a while, I'm watching them and I'm like, yeah, like, I didn't even know that you were gone. Like, get over yourself. So I don't want to be one of those people that's like, oh my gosh, you like probably missed me, but like, here's why I'm gone. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say. But there is this sort of pressure that is put on you when you have been consistently uploading and consistently sharing content. Then when you take that away, then there are people that, you know, come to you and ask where you've been. So, and also every time that I go on a mini unplanned hiatus because life gets in the way, I always feel like doing a live stream or something helps me get into the hang of it again, because I have so many videos I could be doing. I just don't know which one to start, what to do. Then once I get the hang of it, I just will do one every day or whatever. But I have been posting a lot on Facebook, and so that's why the title of this video is posts on Facebook, reading posts on Facebook, because I probably will be doing that. I wanted to let you guys know sort of what's been going on in my life lately, so as well. But weirdly enough, I have had the hardest time getting in the habit since I've started sharing content on the internet in general. I've had the hardest time getting in the habit of sharing posts regularly to YouTube or to my Facebook page as things come up. And weirdly enough, I've just been like camera shy, like too depressed to want to make a video, that I have been more in the habit of posting on Facebook. So if you are not in my Facebook group, Personality Typology for Self-Growth, you should join that. But I've been getting more of the confidence, I guess, to, as opposed to whenever I get a realization or theory, as opposed to just messaging Crystal and being like, yo, what is up? Or like telling her like what the theory is, like, what do you think about this? Like something I just posted on Facebook was like, I feel like whenever people say, well, in my book, that they are sharing TI. And then someone responded and was like, actually, I think it could be FI or TI. And now I'm thinking about it and I'm like, maybe you're right. So these are the sort of discussions that happen in there. Another thing I recently posted was that I had a question for FI users. And what I want to know is whenever FI users say, oh, it's a long story, does that mean that they want me to ask about it? Or do they not want to talk about it? Because something that I do a lot with my FI user friends is if they say it's a long story and they try and shrug it off, my natural reaction is to assure them that I have time, like, you're not too much, like, let me know, like, I'm here for you. And sometimes I don't think they want that. And so I'm all about doing, you know, I'm all about the sort of nuanced empathy that is doing what people want and not just a one-size-fits-all sort of approach. And by the way, hi, Shania. Hi, Tiger Green Grass. Hey, Jordan. Ben from Facebook. I don't recognize your specific photo, Tiger Green Grass, but I probably would on Facebook. I just don't know what your like last name is. So, hi, Grace. So glad you guys are here. If you have any questions or anything that you would want to talk about, like, let me know, because this is going to be kind of a free-for-all. Pretty much, I shared this on my Facebook already. Oh, hi, David. I shared this on my Facebook already, but like, pretty much. Oh, Ben. Hi. Yes, I remember you now, of course. You guys should go watch Tiger_Greengrass, his YouTube videos, and let me know what personality type you think he is. So, sorry to put you on the spot there, Ben, but that's what I do. I put people on the spot. Love the spot. I just love whatever that even means. But anyway, my life, for those of you who don't know, I left my full-time job in April. And I have been trying to figure out what I want to do for a while. I have pretty much given myself the rule ever since like the end of April that I don't want to do anything that I don't feel 100% aligned with, like emotionally, mentally, whatever. And so that means I didn't want to do marketing for a job, or I didn't want to do marketing for a business that I didn't care about. I didn't want to work underneath someone who is going to disrespect me. Oh, hi. Shout out to the ENFJ boyfriend. Curious if he or any other ENFJs watching this will know what I mean, but pretty much I got to this sort of breaking point where I was like, I'm not going to work underneath someone that disrespects me. I'm not going to work underneath an incompetent boss that doesn't know what content is or doesn't value what I do. It doesn't understand what I do and isn't going to manage me or anything like that. And so I pretty much just raised my standards real quick. And when I first started out my career, I took jobs that I thought I would love, and not that I didn't love them, because even though when I look back at some of my jobs, it almost feels like relationships where it's like in every relationship I've ever been in, I have felt at the moment like, oh my goodness, I love this person more than anything, and my love for this person will carry everything forward. And when I look back, I'm like, dude, you were settling, you were lying to yourself, what were you thinking? But in the moment, I always really feel like that person is the person and all that. And I think it's the same with jobs, where literally I took jobs that I thought that my passion would get me through. I thought I would be willing to overwork myself. I thought that I would be willing to have a lack of direction, because I've only worked at startups. So that's sort of the environment I'm coming from. I pretty much was willing to overwork myself to the point of burnout for the jobs, because I was like, oh, well, if I would love it, then that's what matters, right? And that does matter. But something that is really important for an ENFJ to understand, or really anyone to understand, is that your mental health and your self-love or your self-care or whatever all that crap is, all those buzzwords, and also the money that you are getting paid is important. Not in the sense that you should only chase jobs that are going to pay you the most. Obviously, there are way other factors, but you should be paid what your value is. You should be paid what you are bringing to the company. And you should be paid, hi, Dan. You should be paid what your value is. And I did not care about that or notice that enough. And so a couple things shifted for me at the end of April. One, I realized that I was only going to work underneath someone who respected me and could show me empathy. And I was going to be very cautious about those people and really look for signs of people trying to take advantage of me as cheap labor or as a workhorse that they can squeeze to my max potential without giving me much of a turn. And yeah, I would consider that good enough. Depending on the job, actually, because that's another key thing that I switched my mindset. And there are lots of, if anyone is interested, ask me and I'll tell you. But I followed a lot of personal finance bloggers and stuff like that. For example, the Financial Diet on YouTube is really helpful. And also the podcast Afford Anything is really helpful. But pretty much I've switched my mindset where it's not like a per hour, it's a per value. So as opposed to trading time for money, it's more about trading value. And also what good is for some of the commenters there. It depends upon what bills you have and stuff like that. And it should feel like pretty much I was like, okay, I've really got to specifically look for whoever I work with, making sure that there's some sort of mutual benefit going on here. And I found some people where it's like, okay, yeah, I need them because I need the experience and I need, you know, the opportunity, and they need me. And they need me because they need this job to be done and they need it to be done well. And so there's that going on. But I don't think that ENFJs naturally are very, I don't think ENFJs test people very often. I don't think that we naturally are super skeptical of people's intentions. And so this was something that I had to learn. I would think that like an INFP or an ISFP would be really good at checking to see if the person was being authentic before they took the job or something like that. Making sure that, you know, they aren't being taken advantage of. And, you know, I don't think that people take advantage of people on purpose. Sometimes it's just lazy business or negligence. Or like maybe you aren't communicating your value enough and so people don't know what they should be paying you or whatever. So anyway, I've been sort of on this journey and the universe has been sort of giving me teasers of opportunities. I felt like almost as if I was living my life like an NFP. And that's why I made that video where I was like, when you change the way you live your life and the functions that you call on to use, your literal life circumstances will change. And I realized that because and what my standards were, my actual life circumstances changed and it required me to use more TE than what I normally would. Now, if I'm an ENFJ, if I'm just using FE and TI, then that means that I'm going to just have this adaptable, open, enveloping perspective, and I don't have preferences. And so it doesn't really matter what the standard is. I don't have to voice my TE declarative conclusion. And it doesn't really matter how or if things move along because I'm going to be adaptable with FE anyway. To answer 999 Green Eyes, the average working hour, I can't answer that specifically. I know that in my state, the minimum wage is $7, a little over $7 an hour. But there's a huge problem, like in the Midwest, where there are a lot of college-educated students that are in enormous debt, and the rent prices keep raising, and there aren't many entry-level like jobs. So that is really the struggle, at least what I can speak to. It's not really about the number, but just to answer your question, there's like a huge gap of like people with degrees that now not only do they need to pay for, you know, the rising rate of rent, but they also have to pay back their student loans, and the jobs are just paying less than what that is. So it's really that gap. So yeah, it's not really about money. It's just about making sure that you aren't being taken advantage of. And unfortunately, this can get into a whole other thing of like, does capitalism take advantage of everyone? Or is it possible to not be taken advantage of? Like, I don't even know. I don't know the answers to those things. So Ben, you say you plan to go into journalism as a career. I have a journalism degree, and I have a lot of friends that still do journalism. It depends on what you particularly want to do. And this is another thing that's very U.S. based right now is, you know, like the president is bashing journalists all the time. Like people aren't trusting the news. Like it's hard to make money as a journalist. Like, I was making pretty much minimum wage as a journalist whenever I was doing that. Did not have time for myself, like, at all. I was completely overworked, but I loved what I was doing, so I thought that was worth it. But anyway, my point here is that two mindset shifts that changed for me is I started to really notice what my standards are. And I started to notice what my standards were and not accepting anything but that. Then I also outlined what is the worst case scenario for me. What is the worst case scenario for me that I would be okay with? And you're never in life going to just be able to get exactly what you want as it is. For me, I realized that my worst case scenario was going back to the food industry, working as a barista, making sandwiches, doing jobs that were below my pay grade as someone with a college degree. But I would rather do that than work for someone or for a company that I didn't feel fit my values or fit where I was trying to go, or if I felt like they were taking advantage of me. So, okay, I decided my standards, and I decided how low am I willing to go? Like, before, like, what is my worst case scenario? I think that's very, very important to define, because that's going to look different for everyone. Some people might say, you know what? Clearly I want my dream job. I would so much rather have the stability of a job that I don't really like than having to deal with all the instability that, I pretty much put myself through. My ESFJ mom told me that she was proud of me for working hard, but also to remember that I did this to myself. So, yeah. Yeah, Dan, I'm pretty sure Walmart pays a little bit higher because they probably have a standard minimum wage across the entire United States. And I don't know. So my last job was at a startup to Constanza, where I was a content strategist. But so I have a journalism degree, and I worked as a journalist for a year and a half. And then after that, I was put on as the first content person ever for this startup, where I was then expected to do email marketing, content strategy, email strategy, digital marketing strategy, content marketing. Like, I wrote blogs. I had to do social media. And I think I did email marketing. I can't remember if I said that. But pretty much there's like all these different things that I had to learn. And then I also had to learn about our corporate clients. I knew nothing about the corporate world because I've never worked in a corporate world. So I had to understand those clients. And I had to pretty much market for a company that I didn't understand, reaching clients that I didn't really understand. And also I had to teach myself all these tools and marketing. And I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. Like, it helped me so much. It just wasn't a great fit, and it wasn't what I wanted to do. So I don't want it to seem like I'm bashing that company or whatever. But I did learn a lot, and now I have the experience where if anyone wants to know, oh, have you done that before, then I can say, yes, I have done it before. But anyway, so where was I? The shifts I made. Okay, I understood my standards, and then I understood how low I was willing to go to get what I want. So how low are you willing to go to get what you want? I want to know what that is. Comment below. I might do another video where I go into that more, because I think that that's a good question that everyone should ask themselves. Like, if you can understand what that is, then you can troubleshoot away from that and make sure that you don't end up in a scenario that is terrible. Because for me, the most terrible scenario for me would be to be working like 50-hour weeks for something that I didn't care about, to the point where I felt like I was slacking and feeling really mediocre in my own personal projects. So that's how it felt. I felt like all day, every day, I was thinking about videos I wanted to make for you guys, and I was distracted by ideas, things I wanted to create. And there are two sorts of people in this world. And one sort of person, if they won the lottery, they would live a nice life, a simple life, and enjoy themselves and not work. And other sorts of people, if they won the lottery, they would build an empire. They have so many ideas. They just want to start them. They just don't have the resources. Or they would do something with that. And I don't think one's better than the other. I just sort of made that up. But for me, I definitely am the sort of person where it's like, oh my God, like I'm so internally driven. I would make so much. I would do so many things. Like I would launch so many things if I had the resources. And so I started to realize that time was my biggest resource. What's the point of making enough money to pay my bills if I had no time? So that was huge for me, because then I realized, like, my worst case scenario is working for somebody else for 50 hours or whatever a week and not having the time or the creative energy or the willpower to do anything that I want to do, because that's what matters to me. And so for me, that's when I was like, okay, well, I'm going to do whatever I can to support that. I don't care what job I take. I applied for like every single admin assistant sort of job because I was looking for something that would be entry level and easy. But that actually sort of inspired my video about, you know, detail orientedness in intuitives, because I think that NPs are a lot better at doing those sort of things than me. But you know what? Literally not one admin assistant position reached out to me to work for them, and because I'm not the sort of person they want. So I don't know if this is other NFJs or just anyone in general has dealt with this, but it's like, and I'm going to sound like such an annoying, like intuitive, like, oh my gosh, I'm so intuitive, whatever. But it's like, as an intuitive, I have different strengths than sensors. It doesn't mean that I'm more evolved than sensors. Like, sensors have their own shit that I can't do. And it's hard for an intuitive to fit into the sensory world when the sensory world full of sensors is built where you're supposed to start with the details, start with the tangible, and then make your way up and prove that you're good at that, and then get conceptual. Then you can be a strategist or whatever you want to be. That's how most job structures are set up, where you start with the nitty gritty, and then you prove, once you know the thing, that you could then strategize. And I just work oppositely. And I feel like I'm not the sort of person that a lot of employers even want, because I look like, you know, impulsive or not loyal to them, or I don't know what I look like. I probably look frazzled. My SI sucks. Like, I don't know. Maybe they think I don't care about my appearance enough. Maybe they think that I'm not rigid enough. Like, I don't know. But like, it's a two-way street. Like, I don't want those jobs. They don't want me. Like, I want to work for people that want me. But anyway, so I pretty much committed myself to where nonstop from like May to now, I've been applying to jobs, reaching out to all these contacts that I had from the startup world, pitching them every day, asking them, can I do this for you? Can I write an article for you? Can I do your social media? Can I do this? Can I do this? Like, here's my rate. Like, how can I help you? How can we help each other? I've been just doing that nonstop, like in a total extrovert, like crazy. I've been doing that. I've also been trying to make more videos. I launched my life coaching. I launched my VIP Facebook group where I share extra posts. Everything has been speeding up in so many ways. And last month was really freaking hard because I had a client just say they weren't going to pay me for kind of no reason, breaking a contract. So I posted on Facebook too, and sort of was talking about how that experience really, I had to use TE. I had to vouch for my FI. If nobody else is going to vouch for you, you have to vouch for yourself. Okay, I'm going to view some of these comments and then sort of get back on my thing. So someone asked what my ideal job would be. I want to work for myself. I want to be a life coach. I want to be a blogger. I want to be a vlogger. I want to have a podcast. I want to be a motivational speaker. I want to help people build cool things. I'm skilled in social media, marketing, blogging, and I want to help people, build their brand. If I think that it's going to be doing something good in the world, then I want to help them do that. And so my degree was in journalism, and so I learned how to do a lot of different media stuff. And so as opposed to looking for a dream job, there's going to be the things I want to do, my projects, but then I'm starting sort of getting to what I'm doing now is I'm starting like my own like LLC as like a consultant / contract worker where I want to, have these services specified. So it's like, you want a blog? Okay, I'll do one for you. This is how much it costs. Like, these are all the things that I've been trying to figure out the past few months. So I've been trying to figure out, how can I build myself a structure? What do I want? How low am I willing to go? What will I take? Because I've gone, pretty low. Like, I've had to do jobs that weren't the most fun, and I don't want anyone to think that I'm being like classist or privileged to say that like, if you don't like what you're doing, then you should just do what you love, because it's not that easy. Like, we all have to do things that we don't want to do, and so just choose which things you don't want to do are better than the other things you don't want to do, and avoid the very, very most thing that you don't want, where you get caught just being somebody else's bitch, doing their work and not having the time for me. So, yeah. Yes, I do think that video game preferences have something to do with Myers-Briggs. Someone says if they're an ETP, which I think you're an ESTP, you like games where you can do whatever, but Jays prefer games with an objective. Yeah, I think so. And this sort of inspired my post that I made on my Facebook page about asking people if they like The Sims. I found that SFJs really, really love The Sims in a very traditional way of wanting their houses to look pretty and wanting to make everything perfect. And NTPs, who use the same functions, love The Sims too, but they like to fuck shit up. They like to kill people. They like to cheat on people and see what happens, or they like to just be ridiculous. But they still love The Sims. They love the idea of a people simulator. I think it's very FE. I really love The Sims too. I just haven't been able to get into it because I think that there is something about it that's very SI. So yeah, I do think that video games definitely would have to do with that. Let me see. Someone asked, how many hours a day does one work? I don't know if you're asking about, like, in America, typically 8. But for me lately, I've been pretty much working until tired. But it depends on what you consider work, because a lot of the work I've been doing has been trying to set up for other potential things. Okay, so Tanner says he went through that same sort of process. I'm assuming this is the ENFJ boyfriend. Working for a company where he didn't agree with the ideals they stood for. He didn't feel personally called to be there, so he decided to leave. Yeah, exactly. I think that ENFJs can get in this trap of like wanting to be accommodating or wanting to see the best in people and everything. Yeah, someone says if I won the lottery, or Austin says, so I don't know why I'm saying someone. Austin says if I won the lottery, I would give some of it away. I would too, but my goal would be to figure out how I could make more money from that so I can give more of it away and like do more good. I wouldn't want to just give it away immediately because, the whole you want to teach a man to fish rather than give them fish. Like, that's just sort of how I am. Like, I really care about charity and stuff like that, but I really want my main goal is like influencing the world. My goal is pretty much world domination, so, but in a really pleasant way. Okay, do you like ASMR? Yes, my new favorite person is Life with Mac on YouTube. She is so hilarious, and I think she's a good example of an ESFJ. So check her out. She's hilarious. Advice for ENFJs working at retail stores. I don't have any advice, but I did have to work at a retail store for like Black Friday once in college. And my least favorite part about it, and I don't know if you have felt this too, but my least favorite part was when they would tell you that you had to go up to people and ask them how they were doing or try and sell them. And I just do not like bothering people that do not want to be bothered. I do not want to say, how's your day, if I can clearly tell that they don't want to talk to me. I'm the sort of person where if I go into a store, I am on a mission. I know what I'm getting. Or I'm just trying to browse and not talk to anyone. I'm on a mission either way, and I do not like when people talk to me. So I hated that part. I don't know if it's related to type if you like ASMR, but I do feel like a lot of SI users like it. I did not understand it at first. Not as ideal to type children. I don't know if this was a response to the girl Live with Mac who's like 13. She just seems incredibly mature for her age. So maybe that can change, but the way I view it is like we have been using these cognitive functions since forever. So to answer let me answer this. We've been using the cognitive function since birth, but what happens is we have our dominant that shows very strongly, and then as we get older, our lower functions grow. And so I don't think that it's necessarily wrong to type children. It just would be harder to, because their lower functions won't be as developed. And so you might be just seeing just their dominant function, might be harder to see the auxiliary. Or a theory that Crystal and I once had, I haven't really spelled out, but I almost feel like if you're looking at the socionics model, that young children use their more than their third and fourth. So when I was a kid, I feel like I used more FI and NE. Crystal even asked me once, which I don't know if this is what she thinks or if I think it, but it still is an interesting question. She was like, what if children are just NF, ST, SF, or NT? Because it does seem like they use like both orientations of the function. Like I feel like I used FI and FE like a lot, like as a kid. But even knowing me as a kid, it would be clear I was a feeler, and it would probably be clear that I'm an extrovert. But I don't know. I don't know about that. And to answer your question, 999 green eyes, or I guess it wasn't a question. You said it's the same in Norway, which is also 8. I don't know if it's like this in other cultures, but like American culture, like once they get you on a salary, then it's like you're expected to do more work than the 40-hour week is like a very common thing, where like they expect you to go above and beyond in order to please your boss, but then like you aren't given a raise for what the above and the beyond was. I don't know. That's just, I don't even know if that's applicable to everyone, but pretty much, yeah. Going back to what I was saying, I guess, is that this last month, what happened was that my purse was stolen from the coffee shop that I was working at, and then whoever took my purse took my car. So that happened, and I was freaking out. Luckily, my driver's license did not have my current address on it because I was very concerned that they were going to find my place or whatever. And so, and apparently the security footage said it was like two 12-year-old boys that stole my car or whatever. But so I've just been, right as I have been, okay, so also what I was going to say is that I've secured a 3-month contract and a part-time job that are like amazing fits for me, and I'm so happy about. And so literally right when that happens, I like have a sigh of relief where I'm like, oh my goodness, all of this hard work was worth it. Like, I am done being in this state of arousal, of fight or flight mode, which I kind of talked about this in my previous video about, I talked about this in my previous video about ENFJ burnout. Yeah, that was pretty much about me. Yeah. Oh, someone random. I remember that you are an ENFJ as well, and you say checking driver's license immediately. Do not be the stupid person that I am. And I'm just going to say, I'm so glad that something I did a few weeks ago, I've been trying to develop my SI. I went through my wallet and I took out the things that I did not need in my wallet. And I'm so thankful that I did that. Every NJ should just go do that right now. But yeah, what I was going to say is something stupid I did for those of you Americans is that I literally used to keep my social security number in my wallet just because I didn't know where to put it. And that is really stupid, so don't do that. I think a lot of NJs feel like they're invincible of certain things like that, or they might view those things as like silly or whatever. But the reason why I did used to keep that in my wallet, even though you're not supposed to do that, is because I thought that if I kept it at home, it would get lost. And so I did something irresponsible by putting it in my wallet, when really what I should have done is, if I thought it was going to get lost, then maybe I should have found a place for it. And this is a very SI concept, something I still have trouble understanding, but this whole concept of where does it go? Like, my ESFJ mom would, like, when she has like cleaned my room or like helped me move in somewhere, she'd be like, where does this go? And I was like, I don't know, where does it go? Like, it doesn't have a home. That's an object. What do you mean, where does it go? Like, this whole idea of having a home for your things has been very difficult for me. The things that I use regularly tend to just clutter up around me, and I always know where they are. But the things that I don't use regularly sort of are just stored away somewhere. And they're really, advice for all NJs is find a place for your important papers. Oh my God, because if something crazy happens in your life, you're going to need those important papers. And I know that that's advice you've probably heard before. My ESFJ mom has told me that a million times. I just didn't know the importance of it until it happened to me. And this is the way that SE learns from their mistakes. We learn from experience. But pretty much that happened. That was terrible. Luckily, my insurance gave me a rental car, so that was like a whole thing. Like, I feel like I've just been challenged and poked at my weak spots like nonstop. Okay, yeah, Austin, don't keep all of your important stuff in your wallet in case it's stolen, because then you literally will be screwed. So, like, keep the things that you're going to need to use every day. That's just, like, my advice after this happened to me, so you don't have to take it. But I used to also keep all of my important stuff in my wallet because my logic was like, I know I'm not going to lose this because I always keep my eye on this, and I don't want to keep my eye on anything else because I don't want, like, the whole idea of, like, keeping your eye on something I also feel like is very SI, because, like, I'm not that observant in that way of my things, of my surroundings, and so I don't want to have that sort of responsibility. So, I wonder what type. Does anyone know what? Cedric says Benjamin Franklin tried to find a home for about everything, but he failed at it. I don't know. Maybe. Now I want to know what type Benjamin Franklin is. I don't know what he is, but I think that Thomas Jefferson is an STP. And I feel like the founding fathers of America were very STP, but that somehow it has changed, and now the culture really is very STJ as opposed to STP. Like, I feel like that sort of STP liveliness is gone, in my opinion. That's just my hot American take. But yeah, okay. Occasional Cortex says, it sounds lame, but I have a lanyard and I keep it around my neck everywhere I go. Yeah, something that I got angry about, which is probably a very NFJ thing, something I got angry about when my purse was stolen was that women's pants don't have good pockets, and that we're pretty much socially expected to wear a purse because nothing can fit in our damn pockets. So then I was just thinking about all the women who have had their purses stolen more than men and how unequal that is, and blah, 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 blah. These are the sort of things that run through my mind. But anyway, I got that taken care of, but it's been a huge lesson. And the reason why I'm even saying this, it's been a huge lesson in a few things. One, you have to trust the universe. Well, you don't have to, but whenever you don't know what to do, all you can do is what you can. And I know that that is so obvious and so oversaid, but if you are doing what you can, then you have to relax. Now, this is the part of that advice that I don't think that I normally understand. People will often say, you can only do what you can, or you can only do what you could do, or like, oh, just focus on what you can do. But what has never clicked to me is that if you are doing what you can do, then okay. Once you're done with that, you literally need to relax. You literally need to distract yourself. You literally need to stop thinking about it. And that's what I've been having to do the past couple weeks, is once I put my feelers out there, once I called the right people, I called my insurance and my bank and like all those things, I had to watch a movie. I had to get a drink. I had to relax and that's a huge challenge, because something that I do and that I know a lot of NFJs are guilty of is thinking about it anyway, worrying about the things you can't change, hoping that other people or other things will change to get you what you want. When, as long as you have done what you can do, all you can do is leave it, have faith or trust the universe or other people or things to do the things that you can't do. And if that doesn't happen, you have to have faith in yourself you have to have faith in yourself that you can handle whatever comes up, because that's like something that us J's are really bad at, is handling, trusting that we can handle whatever comes up. So Constanza, what is your type? Are you an NFP? I can't remember, because I think I have a point to what you said. Yeah, Ashish, I feel you. I did not want to say that, but that was also a decent point. But yeah, Cedric, I believe you're an NTP. Okay, Constanza, you are too. So that's interesting, because my ENTP X used to try and distract me whenever I would get this way. And I was very skeptical of them, that the distracting me from my problems would work. Because I thought that they distracted themselves too much. But maybe I think NE does distract itself too much. Well, the distracting part is good, because I think that NPs, they trust themselves to do what they can do of whatever situation comes up. And they also sort of just trust the process of the way that the world works more than me. But what NPs have trouble doing is taking action whenever there is action to be taken. So that is something I would challenge you all to do, is to find the courage or the will to take the actions that are yours to be taken, and not offload the responsibility onto anyone else. So that's like a very opposite problem to me, where I will like call the bank and call whatever, and then business hours are over and I have other calls or I have other things to figure out, and then I'll sit for hours just worrying, just thinking about something. And like, that's what I do. Like, I don't know how to, whatever, but yeah, I think that weed, so now that we're on the topic, I feel like weed is very NI. Like, I have found from people I know and stuff that it seems to help NI users, but it seems to cause anxiety in NE users. I don't know if that's like a real thing. I wish that weed was legal so that we can do a study on that. That would be a cool psychological study. But anyway, I did take a class in college that was about the spirituality in the brain and like drugs in the brain. And there are some interesting neuroscience studies about the parts of the brain that like psychedelics and marijuana like tap into. So that would be interesting to see. But yeah. So learning to just let go. If you have done all that you can do, then you let go. So that. And then also another big thing for me is asking people for help. Like, that is so hard for me. I don't know how to ask for help very well because I want to be able to do it all yourself. But this is something that's very paradoxical about ENFJs, is that we are so aware of that there's interdependence in our society and that we need each other and we're always there for other people, but we don't understand that we sometimes need to ask for help and that there are some situations where you literally have to. So what ended up happening, without getting too personal, is that because of my job situation, I couldn't qualify for a car loan anymore, even though I did before, even though my credit score is good, even though I'm on my payments. And so that sparked a huge sort of freak out for me, where it was like, yo, like, I'm trying to be different. I'm trying to follow my heart. I'm trying to be entrepreneurial. I'm trying to put myself out there. I'm trying to do things that other people won't do. And society is still putting me at fault. Oh, society is still putting me at fault for what I thought was brave and courageous, but still, according to our standards, I don't qualify as trustworthy. People don't trust that I will be able to pay that loan back. And I understand why they do it. And I feel like those laws are very TE and SI. Like, to those standards, I understand why there has to be rules. I understand why I don't fit those rules. But I wish that there were other standards. I wish that there was more NI standards of ways that I can show that I am a trustworthy person, that I am going to be successful and all those sort of things. And that, you know, it's hard just to face the reality that even though by some standards I'm doing well for myself and I'm being courageous and I'm smart and all these things, that by society's freaking standard, I still suck. By society's standard, none of these jobs that want their workhorse, none of them want me because I'm not the workhorse. Like, I'm not your girl. Like, I'm not the person that's going to regurgitate your info for you. Like, I'm just not that person. And I'm not, you know, I don't know. So that was like really upsetting and really alienating just to feel that. And so that was hard. And honestly, I wish I could tell you that I found a way to do this without asking for help, but I didn't. I was literally in a situation where I could not get by if it weren't for the people around me. And this just shows the power of FE, is that my parents, they don't have much to give me. That's not the environment that I grew up in. But I did grow up in an environment that was very abundant on love and compassion and community. And so literally the only way that I was able to get out of the situation is by asking my parents for help. And so they aren't helping me financially, but they did help me get the loan so then I could pay them. So that might not be hard for you to ask your parents. I don't know your situation, and I'm not going to go any more into that because I'm not trying to get too personal here, although I'm very bad at not getting too personal. But I guess what I want you guys to take away from this is that if it weren't for my parents, I literally would not have a way to get to work, or I would have to just use a rental car, or I would have to quit my jobs and find another job that was closer. Like, I literally would not have any other option. So, or there might have been some options that would have been an incredibly high risk, or like getting some credit card or like something like it would have been a terrible financial decision. So it's like, okay, yeah, I guess you're right, Cedric. But I wouldn't have had an option. I would have been stranded. Like, without asking for help, I would have been stranded. And so that's the thing is, and even if I were to like live at home or whatever, like I would have to break my lease. I would have had to ask for money for the lease. So it's like all these sort of things. Like, I like looked at every option, and so I really would have been in a shitty situation if I didn't have people that loved me. And and that meant, the world to me to know that my parents believed in my future and my success, even though I didn't have pay stubs to show it. You can like look at my bank account and you can see, like, I mean, like I have been doing a good job considering like how much I've been trying to go against the grain here. And that's really hard for me. It's really hard for me to go against the grain. And so, and I know that the system is not going to trust me as much. But the fact my parents trusted me was like really, yeah. Anyway, so now hopefully nothing bad happens, because this is one of those things. This is one of those things where like, I feel like in my life, every time things seem like they're coming back to normal, everything crazy happens. Like, I made a video last November where it was like I was laid off and broken up with in the same week. And that was like a week after I felt like, whew, okay, things are normal. Like, nothing has ever been normal for me. Like, I think it's because I'm so obsessed with growth that every single time that I grow in one way, life throws me something else, and it's very, very exhausting, and it's very overwhelming. It's very alienating, and I feel like a lot of times it's literally on me having to make the decision, and that there aren't, like, I don't know, people fade away. Like, people I used to hang out with, since I wasn't the one to reach out first, now I don't know if we're friends because it's been months. Maybe we are, but maybe they think that I don't like them. Maybe they think I'm too busy for them. How do I seem normal to you? I'm not like doubting you. I just like, based on my personal life experience, that has not been the case from people, how they've acted. Yeah, okay, Cedric says, your parents really know you. Algorithms don't have access to that sort of information. Yeah, exactly. And I think that's what the issue is with algorithms, but at the same time, I don't really have a better solution. So continue on. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that I'm normal. Wait, how is my appearance? I like really thrift store clothes, but thanks, I guess. Yeah, I don't think that I'm normal. And it is very alienating. And I think that something that is really hard for an ENFJ is gosh damn it, what was I saying? What's hard for an ENFJ is that people can expect you to be the one to reach out. And if you stop, then they think that there's something wrong. And I really wish that some of my friends would reach out to me whenever I need them, as opposed to expecting me to still. But I also don't know how to let them know when I need them, because whenever I tap out energetically, I don't have the energy to tell them. So, yeah, I don't think that there's anything wrong with me. And also Oprah Overlord 1984 say that you are also probably not normal if you like my videos. And so none of us are probably normal. Like if you are willing to sit through this. And so maybe I seem normal to you if you think that, you know, we could get along or whatever reason you are for listening to me. But most people don't listen to me talk the way that I'm talking right now. Like maybe it's easy for you to listen because you have an interested personality or the way people's brains work or whatever reason that you have for listening to me. But when I just open my mouth and talk like this, not on a live stream, not to this targeted audience that I branded for myself on YouTube, if I talk to just any given person, most people don't like know what to say when I talk about these things. So Constanza says you're guilty of doing that, not reaching out if you're not reached out to first. Yeah, and I think that a lot of my friends are Ps because I find a lot of NPs like fascinating. I will say, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I think that's really all I had to say. I guess since I'll like go look on my Facebook page and read some of the things that I've been sharing since, for those of you who haven't seen it, because that was what the title of this video was. But yeah, I guess I was going to say earlier is that I feel like I'm at a blank slate. I'm in school. I'm getting my master's in psychology. I have a couple things to do. I mean, I feel more secure and I have a little bit of free time to do things. So things feel like maybe they're normal. I have a car now, but I'm overwhelmed. I'm tired. I'm exhausted. All of these things that I really hope that things look up. I really hope that all of that work was for something and that maybe I've gotten somewhere. So, Tiger, you say, Megan, can you read my posts? Let me look. I've been trying to just finish my points before I got distracted. Do any of the ESTPs you know in real life do things without purpose? That's hard to say because whether or not ESTPs do things with a purpose or not, I don't think that since they're not J's, you aren't going to explain what your purpose is to everyone you meet. And so, in my experience, it seems like ESTPs, they do things for a reason. But they just might not share what that reason is. So, they seem to be pretty purposeful from my view, at least. Also, hey Zubir, I don't know if you're still there. Meant to say hi. So I'm not familiar with C.S. Joseph's system. I've seen a couple of his videos, but I don't know what the system itself is. So, and also, yes, normal is subjective because not only is it normal based on you and your standards, but it's also based on the culture in which you grew up. So, in your family. So, yeah. Okay, so a few random things. Okay, so I'm just going to finish this off. I'll stick around for maybe like 5 to 10 more minutes. If you have any questions, comment them below. Oh, I meant, could you read some of my Facebook posts in your group? Oh, yeah, maybe. Socionics Model G. I think I like Model A better, but what confuses me is that Model G also seems to work. And so it's like, are they both possible? Or, oh my God, the Portuguese geek. It's very easy to debunk something that's not concrete. That's very true. I think that's why everyone's always debunking astrology. I love astrology, but I'd be the first to admit that it's not, you know, a very concrete system at all. Even this, like what I was just talking about, socionics model G, I'm not sure if model G could coexist with model A. That's something that's never made a lot of sense to me. So, but I remember someone telling me, though, about model G that it explained why I could use TE a lot, just bad TE, and that made sense to me. So, yeah. Okay, so here's something I posted on Facebook today that I want to share with you all too. So I said that a classic pattern that I have noticed with FPs, particularly in FPs that have had the life experience where they've had a few friendships or not very many dating history, and the FP will say, I want someone to like me. And then someone likes them. And then the FP is like, what? What the fuck? Why do they like me? Like, oh, they're such a weirdo. And then they stop liking them because they judge them for liking them. And they're like looking for the catch, or they just like don't believe them. So a lot of interesting discussion about that was going on in my group also. I also shared this video that I want you guys to watch from my friend Nate. It's called, I don't want to find the link right now, so I'm just going to show you this. Hopefully you can kind of see it. Gosh, you can't. It's called Type Theory Babble. I'll just tell you what to search. I met Nate from Twitter, and he knows his stuff. He has not really made many YouTube videos, but he has a lot of resources on Twitter. He's an ENFP, and I shared that video in my group. There's a lot of good insight about why TE makes mental shortcuts. So that one was interesting. Oh, and another thing I said is that whenever I feel the emotions of the tribe, and then I go against them and share my harsh truth that my TI sees that no one wants to hear, I get a little taste of how an ITP might feel every day, and it's not fun. Yeah, Ben made some comments about the relationships, or a lot of the comments on that FP posts is from him, so check it out. Oh, here's a good thing I want to read off for you that I read earlier. Is an FYI. When I make declarative statements about a function, a type, or a group of function and types, I am talking about just them. I'm not talking about everybody else, and I'm not trying to make the assumption that everybody else doesn't do that. I'm trying to link a behavior to the function. So the way that would work mentally, this is not what I said here, but everyone of this thing does this. I'm not saying everyone that does this is this. Does that make sense? So it's like all, and see, when I make declarative statements, so that all FPs seem to do this, X, Y, Z. And if I list the behavior, you cannot then say everyone that does this must be an FP. That's not how it works, in my opinion. We all can do everything. It gets interesting when you start to notice things that everyone in one type does. But I think that is a way that you can link it. But yeah. Oh, the Portuguese geek says people not wanting to hear the truth and then calling TI users mean. What? Unheard of. Yes, exactly. Like, I mean, what I was doing in another post in my group is somebody was saying that, oh, you're singling me out. It was like an FI user that was offended by something I said. And I told them that they were just projecting onto me, and I assured them that it's not what I was doing. And then, of course, since I didn't keep that to myself, I was acting more TP-like and accusatory, and then they felt attacked. So that was hard. Yes, Ben, this was the guy that was like, Yeah, and people misunderstand me about this all the time, this FYI, where they don't like the fact that I do bold declarative statements, and I understand that. Oh, someone random. Are you and Crystal planning on making more synchronic Saturday videos? Yes. The reason why that has been on hiatus, which I should have announced better, is a few things. One, like I said, I've not had a set schedule. And also she's been traveling a lot this summer and the hours have just been weird. I've been, having to work at the coffee shop in the evenings, and she lives in LA, and so the time difference, it would just be hard to catch her. So that is something that we are going to try and do. And I have a lot planned for, I pretty much want to make this channel more into a talk show in a way, where I just invite more people on to chat with me. Like, I want to definitely regularly do something with Crystal, but I also want to invite more people on. So yeah. Yeah, I don't think astrology has predictive power. I think that to say, oh, the energy is this right now, like, oh, the sun's in Leo, and so the energy is like this, would be the same as like a weatherman saying, oh, there's a cold front. There's a cold front east. Like, the predictive thing that a weatherman would say is, oh, it might rain or it might snow. But the weatherman never knows what's going to happen, because nobody can really predict anything, not even psychics. And yes, I do believe in psychics. But I think that people should look at astrology as just like a tool to understand the energies they can't see. There are ways of predicting with astrology, but even if you were predicting, it would be just an informed, educated guess. It would never be like for real. I don't know what you mean by power and status. Someone our occasional cortex asked, would it be random people like viewers that you invite on, or people with your power and status? I think I can maybe attribute this to my bad TE or something, but I don't really see the power status thing. I'm just the person that shares my videos online, and anyone, like, I've found that it's been more likely for other people that make videos to want to collaborate with me or to want to discuss things with me. So yeah, there are some people that also make videos that I might want to collab with. But if you join my Facebook group, I'm way more accessible there than I am here. I've been dropping the ball and responding to comments. Also, it's not a great way to, it's not super easy to comment back on YouTube, but if people are sharing good stuff and they're making good conversation, then I will very regularly get into conversations with people that I've met from my Facebook. There are a couple people that have never made videos that were just, my viewers, regular people. I'm a regular person too. There are a couple friends I've made from that, and there are people where, like, if I don't ever want there to be like a barrier. I don't like view it like that. But at the same time, I do have limited time, and when I do get a lot of messages, that I think Facebook is my Facebook group is a good way of sort of getting to know who people are and sort of establishing a relationship by commenting back and forth, seeing your posts, things like that. And if that makes sense. Like, Ben, for example, has been commenting a lot, and that's why, like, when he's commenting now, like, I know who he is, and so it doesn't seem like a stranger. Even though I don't think have really texted, or not texted, but I haven't messaged you on Facebook or have any private talk, but I still know who you are. And so, like, yeah, I would be more inclined to want to talk to someone if I know who they are. But yeah. No, Zubir, I've not seen the Buddha series, but that seems interesting. So yeah, the weatherman tells you what to look for, and astrology tells you where the stars are. So, and if it attributes meaning to the stars, and you don't have to believe the meaning. But the cool thing about astrology is that it's ancient, and that meaning has been recorded over time, and it's very nuanced. It's not just like this is the definition of Leo. Multiple people over decades and decades have had their own definition and their own interpretations of what that energy is. And the more you study, you realize it's not a very black and white thing. Lots of people have opinions of, you know, what Leo is or whatever. So, yeah. Anyway, I don't feel like finishing the rest of this because I'm tired. Ugh. But anyway, thank you guys for watching this, and I have some work to do now. But yeah, this has been fun. I always love my live streams. I still can't believe that people like listening to me and that you guys are just as weird as I am. Oh, so you think humans affect the pull of bodies in the solar system? Yeah, well, I definitely think the moon affects people. So take care, all of you guys. Thank you guys for watching this. Hope you learned something new. And yeah, have a great rest of your evening.